We are Sports. We are Sports.
Large crowd continues to file in here at Tropicana Field, where the homestand continues. The New York Yankees come calling. This will be game one of the three-game series between the Rays and the Yankees. Hi again, everyone. Welcome to an evening of Rays baseball with Brian Anderson. I'm Dwayne Stats. Great to have you looking in tonight. Todd Callis with us in just a moment. Well, it's been a turnaround homestand. The Rays fresh off a sweep over the Oakland A's, BA, and a great pitching matchup tonight. Two lefties, Matt Moore, CC Sabathia.
Hey, and let's start with Matt Moore, the Rays starter going out tonight. You know, he was focused at the beginning of the season to make sure that he got off to a good start, and I guess you could say so far, so good. And the way that he's been able to do it, it's not so much his stuff. That's pretty much the same, but it's been his ability to limit those stretches in a game where he gets out of sync. He's made quicker adjustments. That's allowed him to get back on track quicker, pitch ahead in the count, and when he pitches ahead in the count, he can then get to that curveball and the changeup. That is where his success has lied, in that 3-0 record and 1 ERA. CC Sabathia, on the other hand, the old veteran, the workhorse, already making his 5th start of the season this year. He lost his first start against the Boston Red Sox, but his last 3 have been absolutely stellar, including, of course, CC Sabathia's style. The last 2, he's gone 8 innings in each.
And for Commentary Healthcare, a quick look at the pitching matchup. Sabathia against the Rays, 10-9, and he's had a tough time getting wins against the Rays in pinstripes. And Matt Moore, 2-2 against this New York ball club. This is the first of 19 meetings between these two clubs this year. The Rays won the season series a year ago, and they were 7-2 against the Yankees here at Tropicana Field. The Yankees, as you know, a bit banged up, and Todd Callis takes a look at that roster when we return.
New York Yankees trying to continue this winning streak, which is right now at 3 games after the sweep of the Oakland A's. The Yanks come in with a record of 10-7 compared to the Rays 8-10. And during the spring training period, when the Yanks had all those injuries, everybody thought, well, it could be a tough year for the New York Yankees. Here's Joe Maddon's thoughts. Well, first of all, here's a look at some of the injuries they had with Derek Jeter out until after the All-Star break. Now, originally they thought he'd be back earlier, but then got some bad news about a week or two ago. So now out till after the All-Star break with that crack in his left ankle. Right forearm fracture has Curtis Granderson out until May. Alex Rodriguez is out until after the All-Star break, and Mark Teixeira expected to return in May as well. We did catch up with Joe Maddon and asked him his thoughts about the Yankees with all the injuries.
They're still really good, like we thought. I know everybody was pronouncing the demise during spring training, but did not buy into that at all. They've picked up some really good veterans on this team, and they're all doing pretty well. They still pitch really good. They got a great bullpen. Joe does a wonderful job over there. They're still a formidable opponent.
So we'll see the matchup just minutes away. 3 minutes and 18 seconds away from the first pitch. The Rays and the Yankees. Darrelle Rivas is in the house. He threw out one of the first pitches tonight. We'll have all the action right around the corner. Dwayne Stats and Brian Anderson with the first pitch and starting lineups right after this on Sun Sports.
Field treated the Rays well over the weekend as the offense came to life and the pitching was dominant, leading the Rays to a sweep over the Oakland A's. Tonight, the AL East rival Yankees arrive in St. Pete, sending their ace CC Sabathia to the hill, while the Rays counter with red-hot lefty Matt Moore. Welcome back to Tropicana Field, where the Rays and the Yankees begin their business here tonight. The Rays come in 8-10, New York 10-7. And it all begins with this matchup of two very good left-handers. Let's take a look at the starting lineup put together by Joe Girardi. Brett Gardner is going to lead it off, followed by Ben Francisco, who is the DH, Robinson Cano. Vernon Wells up in the cleanup spot. Kevin Youkilis was a late scratch from this lineup because of some back tightness. Francisco Cervelli will catch. Leonard Bosch is the right fielder. Eduardo Nunez, the shortstop. Lyle Overbay, the late addition, hits 8th at first. And Jason Nix will hit ninth and play third base.
Now taking the mound tonight for the Tampa Bay Rays is left-hander Matt Moore, off to a very quick start here in 2013, making his 4th start. He has won the 3 previous starts. ERA 1.00. Like to clean up those walks right there, 11 and 18 innings, but he's only given up 8 hits, holding opponents to a 133 average. There's a lot to like about Matt Moore's start.
And what we've seen in him is his ability to keep the wheels on. There might be a couple little wobbles, but they're right back tightened up. So he's self-corrected out there on the mound, which has been a great sign in any young pitcher, and particularly for Matt Moore, who has great stuff to begin with. Here is Brett Gardner. And Moore's first pitch of the game, and he takes it a little wide. That first pitch brought to you by Pinch a Penny. Andy Fletcher calling the balls and strikes tonight. Just like that, Moore falls behind in the count to Gardner, 3-0. Finds the zone. Well, the Yankees normally see a lot of pitches. They haven't walked a lot so far this year, but their on-base percentage is very good.
It's pretty amazing what they've been able to accomplish. You look at the All-Stars, the future Hall of Famers that are on the disabled list for this team. They're 2nd in the American League in batting average, 2nd in on-base percentage. You look at the runs, they're 3rd in runs scored.
And it's upstairs, so the fastball hit 95 with ball 4. So Gardner goes to first.
Let's take a quick look at the Rays defense as it lines up behind Matt in the outfield, left to right. Sam Folt, Desmond Jennings, and Ben Sobers. Across the infield, 3rd to 1st, Evan Longoria, Yunel Escobar, Ryan Robertson, Sean Rodriguez. Jose Lobaton will be behind the plate.
We just make note of that velocity on ball 4 because Moore has been 92, 93 in his other starts, and 95 on that pitch up. Here's Ben Francisco. Here's the DH, and the first pitch is a strike.
Walk the leadoff man. Brett Gardner's got tremendous speed, good base stealer, and Matt Moore immediately goes to a slide step. Mix up the looks that he's going to give Gardner over there at first.
Quickly ahead.
And that's one way to do it. Matt Moore, at this point of his career, doesn't have an elite pickoff move over to first base, but by instituting that slide step, that gives him a fighting chance against good base stealers.
And if you could keep the ball down out of that, sometimes quicken up that delivery on the hitter as well.
Oh, you can use it 2 ways, there's no doubt. And right there you saw him go to the high leg kick, again trying to give Gardner different looks, but you're exactly right, you're giving the hitter different looks.
And he got him. Well, went with a slide step there and threw the curveball. Let's see ya.
Yeah, good luck. That's the thing. Slide step off speed. Always a big fan of the slide step changeup. Here, Matt Moore goes slide step. And the curveball. Cannot hold up. He kept that right out onto the plate.
And in some ways, that curveball is more of a changeup than his changeup because his changeup can be harder than that curveball.
Right, and you know, he's much like Alex Cobb and Jeremy Hellickson throwing that spike curve. You're able to create such downspin, such 12-6 spin that it comes out tight like a 4-seam fastball. It's just really digging towards the ground quickly.
Robinson Cano taking the first pitch. 1 ball, no strikes.
That was good glove work there by Jose Lobaton with a kind of an emergency scoop. That ball bounced away. Brett Gardner will be on second base.
Gardner walked. Francisco struck out.
That was a great shot right there, and that abbreviated that little slide step from Matt Moore. How in the world is a base runner going to be able to get a good jump off of that? I mean, you can try it, but as hard as he throws, as many fastballs as he throws, when he just picks it up and starts towards home plate, there is not a lot of time to get a good jump.
There's a strike.
And you've got a chance when he goes high. The problem is, as a base stealer, you're going on first movement. So first movement, you don't know if he's going to go with the high leg kick. You see Gardner leaning back towards first, or that first movement is going to be a slide step. It is a complete guessing game.
He's got Gardner thinking over there at first base. The toss over there to Sean Rodriguez.
Get a pitcher like Matt Moore mixing it up like he is with Gardner. The best thing that Gardner can do is try to peek into the catcher and see if he can't pick up the pitches and then run on off speed. Not as easy.
Ground ball right side. Roberts to Escobar, and they get Gardner on the force play. Well, Cano reaches on a fielder's choice. Nice little move to Roberts' left to start that force play.
Yeah, that's why we're not going to be able to turn that with Gardner bearing down on Escobar, but Roberts got to that ball, spun, made a nice feed to be able to get the lead out. Perfect. Right out over the bag. Let Escobar catch it and get out of the way. And hey, four straight there for our man Ryan Roberts.
Vernon Wells. That's a strike. I'll tell you, he has played with the appreciation of getting those starts, too.
He has. And just like most players will, you get out there 3 or 4 days in a row and things start to come a little easier. The swing looks better. He's on a lot of pitches. It helps being out there, being able to get in a good rhythm.
Guys, feeling frisky.
Looking hitterish.
Yeah. And a couple hits and 2 runs scored and an RBI yesterday. That's fairly hitterish. 0-2 the count to Vernon Wells. Wells defending up there.
How about the job that Vernon Wells has done for this Yankee ball club? You know, we talked about their offense still humming right along despite, you know, missing Curtis Granderson, Derek Jeter, Mark Teixeira, Alex Rodriguez, Nick Swisher's in Cleveland. You know, a lot of attrition off of this team, but you got guys like Vernon Wells who has stepped up. See what he's done over that 3-game streak. That was all in Toronto where he used to play.
And he's out on strikes. So a couple of strikeouts in the first. A man stranded. Desmond Jennings will be the leadoff hitter for the Rays when this game moves into the bottom half of the first with no score. Take a look at Joe Madden's lineup. One thing for sure, Desmond Jennings has been in the leadoff spot through all of these different configurations of the lineup. Ryan Roberts second, and then Ben Zobrist hits third. Evan Longoria, Sean Rodriguez, and Yunel Escobar up in the sixth spot. Shelley Duncan, the DH, in front of Jose Lobaton, and then Sam Fuld.
Taking the mound tonight for the New York Yankees is going to be left-hander CC Sabathia, making his 5th start of the season. You see the 3-1 record. He lost his first start against the Boston Red Sox, has won his last 3, and you can see right there averaging 7 innings per start, including going 8 in his last 2.
He's been a workhorse his entire career. Here with start number 5 tonight. And here's Desmond Jennings. Pitch is outside, a ball and no strikes. A little slimmer edition of CC Sabathia out there.
And you wonder if that has anything to do with the velocity, lack thereof, for CC here in the early going of the season. Saw the first 2 fastballs, 89, 88.
And he's been averaging 89, a little, just a tick under 90, 89.9.
Said he'll top out. He's been topping out at 91. Down probably 2 or 3 miles an hour at least. He, last year, and what we've been used to CC over the last 3 or 4 years is he sits in that 92, 93 range. Has the big slurvy breaking ball, a good straight change, but he's been able to make this work for him because after all those innings, he knows how to pitch.
And he strikes out Jennings. And speaking of that,
let's take a quick look at the New York Yankee defense as it lines up tonight. In the outfield, left to right, Vernon Wells, Brett Gardner, and Brendan Bosch. Across the infield, third to first, Jason Nix, Eduardo Nunez, Robinson Cano, and Lyle Overbay. Cisco Cervelli will be behind the plate.
Ryan Roberts up in the 2 spot again. Sabathia breaks out in front of the Rays infielder. Fastball was up, and Roberts liked it, fouled it back.
Ryan Roberts, number 1, loves the fastball. Early in the count, he will look to turn and burn. Big swing. Rays hitters, too, they know that CC Sabathia likes to pound that strike zone. To be aggressive with him.
And the long one, high and deep to left. Wells back. Goodbye. Home run for Ryan Roberts. An 0-2 pitch, off-speed breaking ball.
Now Sabathia threw a hanger, and Ryan Roberts did not miss it. 0-2, he's looking to back foot this breaking ball. Watch it just roll in there. Such thing as a 2-strike approach when you get a pitch like that.
So the Rays grab the lead. Their 18th home run of the year. To that offensive drought started to break loose in Baltimore, and they've carried it home here to Tropicana Field. Second home run of the year given up by Sabathia, who's working in his 29th inning. A hit by Roberts, his first off Sabathia. He'd gone 0 for 3 against him in his career.
This guy has been a workhorse for a long time. He's been in double-digit wins for 12 straight years, has 6 straight years of 200-plus innings, and some of those, you're getting up in the 220s, 230s.
Yeah, he topped out at 253 the year he had 10 complete games in 2008. And total in his career, he has 7 seasons of at least 200 innings. And this is an interesting breakout with the Yankees and with the Indians.
Well, with the Indians, he was pitching against the Devil Rays. With the Yankees, has been pitching against the Rays. Big difference. The one thing that's not on there is if you look, really, that ERA 3.67, not worthy of a 3-8 record, but it's been the run support average that has been the big difference.
He strikes out Zobrist, 2 gone.
You know, when he was racking up that 7-1 record with the Indians, his run support average was 6.33. You're going to win a lot of those games with a 2.44 run average. When he's gone 3-8, his run support average has been literally half of that at 3.17, and that speaks to what the Rays are running out on the mound.
Yeah, absolutely, and it really reflects what's happened in the season series between these two clubs. For 10 years, the Yankees pretty well dominated right from the beginning in '98 forward, but from 2009 forward, they played to a dead heat. These two teams in the season series. 1-0 the count to Evan Longoria, and a base hit lined into center.
I'll tell you what, that was a hard changeup by CC Sabathia. Not a whole lot of difference between that pitch at 84 and his 89-mile-an-hour fastball. He's been watching Evan Longoria just lean right out there and smoke that ball the other way. Not fooled.
Evan came in hitting in the neighborhood of 360 lifetime of Sabathia with 5 home runs and 10 walks, by the way. So he's been very careful with him. Sean Rodriguez looks at the breaking ball low, and I think the point you made about the changeup is valid. As you see Longoria on base again every time this year, 33 straight back into last year. Because if that fastball is averaging 89, between 89 and 90, shot toward the gap in right center field. Bosch on the run, can't get there. It'll one-hop the wall. They're going to wave Longoria to the plate, and the throw is not in time, and into third goes Rodriguez. The Rays take a 2-0 lead.
Now, Sean Rodriguez has had a measure of success against Sabathia. 9 out of 28 with a home run, and he goes the other way. You saw Evan Longoria leaning out over the plate. Same here. Sean Rodriguez stays back nicely. Bosch gives great effort just off the end of the glove. And actually, when they come in here, the play is not at home. They had a shot at Rodriguez at third base, but no communication. The ball gets thrown home, and it effort to get Longoria. That was not going to happen, and that allows Rodriguez to get into third safely.
So it's a 2-run first for the Rays. And Yunel Escobar with 2 outs and Rodriguez at third. Escobar's bat has started to come to life. Deep right. Bosch going back. That's got some carry. Out of here. Opposite field home run for Yunel Escobar here in the first inning. And the Rays lead 4-0. Well, Escobar hit a home run yesterday. Takes the fastball out to right. First time up tonight.
Now he's gone to a heavier bat to try to take some of his body out of the swing. And that heavy bat, the fact that he was still quick with the hands, he got tremendous carry on that ball to right center and gets it out of here.
The ball here, Shelley Duncan. 2-0. 4-0 ball game. 2-0 the count. Ground ball down to third. Hicks will make the throw to first. Duncan is out. So are the Rays. But a couple home runs in the inning. 4 hits, 4 runs for the Rays. And at the end of the first inning of play in this 3-game series, the Rays lead 4-0. First Roberts, then Rodriguez, and a 2-run blast by Escobar. First, 4 hits and 3 of them for extra bases, a triple and 2 home runs. Well, Escobar feeling a little better than he did a week ago.
Oh yeah, that powerful middle infield, but you know he made that switch to the heavier bat. And maybe it's even psychosomatic, but regardless, psychological, whatever it is.
Well, you'll take the production.
Yeah. 3 hits yesterday, lead off, and how about the fact that the big home run opposite field?
Yep. Francisco Cervelli, Major League pop-up right side, and it's caught by Sean Rodriguez. Took that one a while to come down.
Oh, you talk about backspin straight up. And how about what Matt Moore has been given here? You figure this is going to be a pitcher's duel to the end, and that's how Matt Moore has to continue to approach this ball game, as if it's a 1-0 game.
Well, the Rays have now homered in 8 consecutive games. 15 home runs over that stretch. Move a strike to Brennan Bosch. They had just 4 home runs through their first 11 games. Power sticks out now. 2. Sabathia is, if he's not already, and you think he might, wondering what is it with this Rays lineup. Longoria against Bosch, 2 gone. The Yankees are 0-5 in Sabathia's last 5 starts here at the Trop. And the Rays off to a good start tonight. Eduardo Nunez.
That stops his streak of 10 straight strikes. Matt Moore pounded that zone. I'll tell you, that's when he is at his very best.
The right side, a little slice and out of play. Yeah, after he walked Gardner, he settled in, found that zone.
That really has been the key. Matt Moore just limiting those stretches. Remember, there were times last year where he'd be cruising along and stumble a little bit mechanically, get out of sync, and it may take 3-4 hitters, and by that time 1 or 2 runs have scored. Now, maybe a hitter, maybe sometimes 2.
Back into center. Jennings puts it away on the change. 1, 2, 3. Rays half of the inning, 4-0. Power with the exception of Longoria. That first inning courtesy of the infield. There's the second baseman, Ryan Roberts, a home run. The big power hitter at third base, Evan Longoria, got a base hit. And then Sean Rodriguez, who's playing first tonight, tripled. And the shortstop Escobar hit a 2-run home run.
It takes it the opposite way. Then watch this. Hey, guy. Ooh, he caught home plate with his heel. He almost celebrated himself right out of a home run.
That just would not have been fair.
You want to aim for the middle.
Lobaton comes out swinging and fouls it out of play. Lobaton, Bold, and Jennings due up in the inning. Ball and a strike. Sabathia last year a 15-game winner, 200 innings right on the button, 197 strikeouts, and just 44 bases on balls. And that's strike 3, a fastball.
And I think that that's something that Sabathia, if he wants to hang around in this game, is going to have to do more of. The fastball in. You know, you get the feeling watching these Rays hitters and their approach against Sabathia is they are not worried about getting blown away by the velocity. So they're looking out over the plate. Sabathia comes in right there, freezes Lobaton with a good fastball right on the corner. He's going to have to continue to do that. The Rays are going to take away that outside corner, especially the right-handed hitters.
And Sandfold hit. He's trying to duck that pitch and is hit by it. And the Rays left fielder is aboard at first.
Now this fastball just gets away. Sandfold, there's nothing for him to do. Get the head out of the way. That's it.
So throw that front shoulder out there. Close.
Yeah.
Well, not easy feeling.
You know, we talk about hitters when they see the ball up in the zone out over the plate, how big it looks. Well, how about when it's right at your dome?
Mm-hmm.
That'll look like a watermelon. And you don't have a whole lot of time to react because you're not expecting it there.
Puts Jennings down in the count. There seemed to be a lot of effort in that pitch from Sabathia, and the radar reading said 89. And he strikes out Jennings. That one in at 91.
You know, and another fastball in that freezes a Rays hitter. I'm telling you, these guys right now, and maybe they'll have to make the adjustment. But we saw Evan Longoria leaning out there over the plate with the changeup. He's able to freeze him. That's just perfectly placed on top of it. And Sabathia, not the normal velocity, but he is noticeably thinner. There's no question about that.
That last pitch at 91 is high in the velocity department. Now Ryan Roberts, and a move to first. They've got Bold in a rundown, and he is tagged out. Nunez chasing him back, so he's caught off first to retire the side.
Nicholson ended up throwing out the first pitch today. A great job. Former Plant High School student, now returning back from Afghanistan in July. suffered terrible injury, the IED. Took both of your legs, part of your left arm. You can see the picture there at the end of the first pitch there with Darrelle Revis and also Luke Scott. That had to be quite a moment for you.
It was definitely a good surprise. It was a really great surprise to see him.
Now, you are a big-time Rays fan, right?
I am. Yes, I am.
And you came back from Afghanistan, and you've amazing courage that you've shown during all this, and we appreciate you being here. But there are a lot of people that when you came back, you want to make sure that nobody ever forgets what you guys went through over there, right?
Absolutely. I mean, it's good to see, though, that how much support we get back home, so know that we're not forgotten over there.
No doubt about it. We have a website we want you to go to, supportmikenicholson.com. We have George Stiller with us as well, brother of off-duty FDNY firefighter who lost his life on 9/11. Tell us about how you are connected to this as well.
Well, my brother Steven Stiller was father of 5, ran from Brooklyn through the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel to Manhattan to save lives on 9/11. He lost his life. And they were the first casualties of the war on terror, and now all these soldiers are coming back, protecting our freedom and coming back with major injuries. So we do this for the love of my brother and the love of our country, and we want to treat these soldiers with respect and give them freedom and dignity.
So the Tunnel to Towers Foundation is helping to build safe homes for people like Michael.
Smart homes.
Smart homes, rather, yes. Smart homes, and tell us about that.
Yes, it's a technology to bring the countertop down to their level, bring the cabinets down so they can get it glass, all sorts of electronics, turning the lights on, things that you take for granted. These guys have a lot of hurdles to overcome. But we want to give them independence, and this gives them independence, and it helps their families too, because it's a great burden on the family. And now he can have self-respect and self-reliance.
Pop up the shallow right to start the inning. How much of a difference can it make in your life when you get one of these smart homes?
It's a huge difference. You know, like George said, I get to take the burden off my parents for a bit, and it's going to be great. It's going to be a new chapter in my life, and I just can't wait to start it.
Another pop-up to right, and this will be out number 2 in this inning. Well, guys, listen, we are so proud of you. I know you're very humble, but what you've done for this country is amazing. Thank you very much, and for what you and your brother have done as well.
Make sure you go to supportmikenicholson.com, and on May 10th, there's a concert.
The concert, yeah.
We have to support the Lieutenant Dan Band is coming out. Gary Sinise does a great show, and all the money goes to start building his home. And you got to support your local hero, and I expect Tampa Bay will do that.
Nicely said. Thank you, George. Thank you, Michael. SupportMikeNicholson.com, guys. Back to you.
All right. Thank you very much. And to all of those veterans and first responders, we certainly appreciate your service. We're in your debt. Brett Gardner. It's a strike to him. 2 up and 2 down here in the top of the 3rd. Overbay and Nix retired by Matt Moore. So a nice pass through the lineup the first time through here for the young left-hander.
Matt Moore just continues to pound that strike zone. When he does fall behind, he's able to find it quickly, and that's been the difference. Doing a great job of staying within himself. And you see that breaking ball right there. Struggled with a couple early to Lyle Overbay, but has made the adjustment, and then boom, yanked that one right down. Nice strike. Again, that puts him ahead in the count 1 and 2. He can do a lot of things. He can follow it up.
Came back with a fastball, and the pitch fouled away, so it's still 1 and 2.
And he wanted to come in with that, but that ball leaked back out over the plate, and that allowed Gardner to just put a swing on it and spoil it. If he's feeling good about that curveball, why not?
And there is strike 3 call. Gardner walks away from the plate. 3rd strikeout for Matt Moore. Rays lead 4-0.
lead. And how hot are these bats right now? After that shaky road trip, they come back and sweep the A's, finding their identity, it seems. I caught up with Evan Longoria on how the team is coming together.
I love it. I love our team. You know, that was one of the big things towards the end of spring training that I was really excited about, was the fact that we have a lot of guys that are really positive. We don't have anybody that's negative in this clubhouse, and I think that's going to be key, you know, moving forward.
Ryan Roberts, of course, taking the plate now. Guys, how hot has he been? Unbelievable. And Fuego.
On fire, actually.
Yes. Yeah.
First pitch to Ryan Roberts. A breaking ball is too high. He hit a curveball out of here in the first inning. 2-0, the Rays with a 4-run first tonight against CC Sabathia. Down 0-2 and then delivered.
Now that was on an 0-2 pitch. That ball just rolled in there. Roberts rolled it out into left center field.
And we rolled it down the 147 exit way there.
Somebody's in line for a hot dog, and there's this ball come rolling up on him.
And a shot to left again. Well hit. Wells back, and that one will go. 3-1 pitch, and he hits the fastball out. He wasn't taking anything for granted there. Roberts, ball got into the seats, and he kept running and circles the bases with his second home run.
Well, here it is, 3-1. Middle of the plate. And going hard. You got to love that. He's thinking double. The momentum has been built up. Might as well finish strong.
As he fired up, he's sprinting around the bases on a home run. There was a point in there when he took his eye off the flight of that ball, and he wasn't sure. Now here's Zobrist, one down the line. Wells will get there. That's a fair ball, and Vernon Wells somehow got the glove down there to make that grab as he wound up on his back in foul territory.
A tremendous play by Vernon Wells. You know, off the bat, that ball looked like it had the trajectory to be another home run, but it was an off-speed pitch. Ben was out in front. Vernon Wells has to get on his horse. Outstanding.
He's had a new lease on life since being traded from the Angels to the Yankees. They really need him in the middle of their lineup. He's given them offense and some outstanding defense right there.
No, I think that's exactly what it is, a shot of life. You know, he was rotting out in Anaheim with the Angels. Knew that he wasn't going to be playing that much. Knew that they didn't particularly want him out there. Boy, oh boy, you get traded for it. Team needs you, team wants you. You get a little bounce in the step. Then you start getting regular playing time, and it's translated into results.
Longoria up in the count. Three home runs for the Rays. They've now hit as many home runs as they've given up. Boy, the nature of this game, and hitting in particular, on that road trip early, this offense didn't appear that it had a chance. And now, coming out of Baltimore in this homestand, look out.
players didn't change either. But you know, Joe Madden, I think, and being the skipper of this ship, he had these guys just continue, stay with the process, stay with the routine, didn't panic, said, listen, it's going to come around, it's going to come around, we keep putting the work in, and it has.
Evan walks, and I keep going back to the comment that Longoria made during that players-only meeting. He said, look, we're going to believe in the hard work that they've gone through, that it will pay off, and there it is. That stretch between the 7th and the 16th, they couldn't average 2 runs a game, and now it's almost 6 a game.
Easier to smile in that dugout.
And now Sean Rodriguez is at the plate. You see some movement down there in the bullpen. Fastball is a strike. Sean triple home a run his first time. Adam Warren went up briefly before. He's up in the big leagues, went up in the bullpen. First time he's been up down there. Here in the 3rd. Rodriguez behind.
And you see Sabathia has made that adjustment against this Rays lineup. A lot more fastballs into these right-handed hitters now, recognizing that these guys were looking out over the plate early on.
Fly ball lifted toward right center. Bosch is there to grab it. 2 gone.
Well, tonight's game and all season long, Tires Plus will donate $100 to the Pediatric Cancer Foundation for every Tampa Bay Rays home run televised on Sun Sports. They've been busy with that checkbook in the last week or so.
Another good reason to hit home runs.
Right.
Ryan Roberts with 2 home runs tonight. That's his 3rd multi-home run game of his career. Had one against the Reds back in April of 2011. And then one against Pittsburgh in August of 2009. Escobar looks at a ball. Yunel Escobar jumped on the first pitch in the 1st and hit it out the other way. It's a big cut that time and fouls it.
Just when you thought that his swing couldn't get any bigger,
it just did.
He lets loose with that. He does not get cheated.
This bat doesn't feel any heavier.
They need that Babe Ruth 50-ounce piece.
You really have to swing that like you mean it.
Oh, get it started early. I'll tell you what, being down in spring training and getting a chance to see him, he's a big kid, built like a linebacker.
Count still the ball, 2 strikes to the Rays shortstop. 4 runs in the 1st and another run in the 3rd. Longoria's at first, 2 gone. Shot of Shelley Duncan on deck. It's going to even the count. This is another pitch from Sabathia. Coming into this one at 14 road starts against the Rays, Sabathia is 3-5. And after getting ahead of Escobar, now the count is full. Will take off with the pitch. Fly ball center field. Gardner back to make the catch, and the Rays settled for one on the second home run of the night by Ryan Roberts. Drove a 3-1 pitch into the stands, and the Rays lead 5-0.
Pitch, had a chance to meet Evan Longoria, got on the mound, threw a strike. Darrelle Revis, the newest member of the Tampa Bay Bucks. Everybody in the area excited. How was that first pitch for you?
I was nervous. I really was, man. You know, I was just trying to get it across the plate.
What are your thoughts about being a member of the Buccaneers now?
It's exciting, man. I'm happy to be a part of that organization. It's a great organization. They always talk about family and sticking together, and that's what I want to be a part of.
You're now a part of the NFC South. You're looking forward to the challenge of Cam Newton a couple times, Matt Ryan a couple times, Drew Brees a couple times a year?
Oh, yeah, I never back down from a challenge, and I'm sure, my teammates are on board with that, too. We never back down from a challenge. It's football. It's something we love to do.
We're looking forward to watching you this year in a Bucs uniform. Thanks, Darrelle.
All right, thank you.
All right, guys, back to you.
All right, Todd, thank you very much. A lot going on here at the ballpark at Tropicana Field tonight. Then Francisco leads off the fourth. 3 very good innings for Matt Moore to start his outing. And it's a 1-1. Strike on a changeup there. Ball 2 strikes.
Getting that kind of a big swing from Ben Francisco, he is set up for another changeup if Matt wants to.
Well, he comes right back and gets him.
And I think he hung him a curveball. Ben Francisco could not lay off of it. And this ball was too far up in the zone. I mean, a hitter sees a hanging curveball and he's going to come out of his shoes, but that stayed up and out. Couldn't reach it.
It's 4 strikeouts. Giving up 1 walk. Robinson Cano.
And how about Matt Moore's tempo?
It's been good, I'll tell you. Let's get the ball and throw it.
That's right. And that tells you right now, you don't even have to ask him, that he feels very good mechanically, in a good rhythm. That's why he's moving so quickly.
And he throws a strike.
You can also tell by his pitch selection. He's not stuck on the fastball. He's sprinkling in the curve, the changeup there to the lefty early in the count. Again, speaking to his confidence level.
And then Cano fouls a fastball the other way out of play.
You know, this is Matt Moore right here. He's not pitching to not lose. He is pitching to win. He is pitching to dominate right now. The way he's carrying himself.
Just a little piece of that one. No reaching for the ball away. Vernon Wells on deck.
Robinson Cano, you know, another productive season. Talk about a dangerous hitter. Guy hits just about everything. Extremely quick hands.
And a high fly ball deep to right. Zobrist looking up, and this one will sail out of here. On a 1-2 pitch, Cano puts New York on the board.
If you're Matt Moore, you can live with the solo shot by Cano. This was just a hanging curveball. Got away with one to Ben Francisco, not this one.
Now Vernon Wells fouls it away. Fouled straight back, a fastball. So a changeup and a fastball coming off that home run. He threw Wells the change, and then had him late on the fastball. So he fouled it, got a little piece of it back to the right. Knees. Well, the interesting thing about this New York club, with the offense they put together and with the absence of Alex Rodriguez and Curtis Granderson, Derek Jeter, Mark Teixeira, and you'd think the preponderance of their offense would come at Yankee Stadium, but they're actually averaging more runs on the road than they are at Yankee Stadium.
It's been impressive, the guys that have stepped up. Warner Nunez, now an everyday player. Vernon Wells, we talked about him earlier. What about a guy who's not in the lineup tonight? Well, 2 guys, really. Euclid, Travis Hafner. Nice change up there by Matt Moore to get Vernon Wells. That's the 2nd time that he's gotten him on that pitch.
You know, Euclid was in the lineup originally. He left Saturday's game against the Blue Jays with some tightness in his lower back. He was in the lineup and then a late scratch. And you can see where they are. They're 5th in runs scored, 5.18. But they have averaged 7 runs on the road. Francisco Cervelli, the catcher now. out in front of the fastball. Cervelli and Chris Stewart. Martin gone to the National League, signing with Pittsburgh. Two outs, a run home on the home run. It only gave the Yankees their first run, Cano's blast, but gave them their first hit tonight. Up with the fastball, and it's 2-2.
Curveball or changeup, take your pick. I like the changeup here.
And he got him. Had him out in front. He struck out Wells with a change and strikes out Cervelli with a change. 5-1. On Sun Sports is brought to you by Nissan. Your best choice for a new car. Nissan's Best Choice Sales Event. Shop, choose Nissan.com. By Tampa Bay Times, the official newspaper of the Rays and their fans. By Tampa Bay Radiation Oncology. When cancer strikes, strike back with CyberKnife. Available at Tampa Bay Radiation Oncology. And by Toyota. Let's go places. Rays have built the 5-1 lead against New York. Going into the bottom of the fourth. CC Sabathia has made 52 pitches. And Shelley Duncan leads off, the Rays' designated hitter. Duncan went out third to first his first time. Sabathia too high with the fastball. Sabathia, since he debuted in the major leagues in 2001, has thrown more pitches than any other major league pitcher. And a big cut right there on the changeup, the 2-0 off speed. He's thrown over 40,500 pitches since he broke into the big league.
He is a horse, and he's been a horse since he's come into the league. He didn't grow into that role. He has taken that on from day one.
And lines it foul. Down there, the landing. And a souvenir.
How about that?
All right.
Let the chair make the play and knock it down.
That's the smart thing to do. Broke the chair, but her hand is okay. Full count. Lobatone will be next, and then Fold. Shelley Duncan facing Sabathia with a full count. And he draws the walk.
Well, get in on the action with exclusive on-field seating in the Papa John's bullpen box. Available dates are going fast, so act now to make your group reservation behind the Rays bullpen by calling 855-GROUP-TB or by going online at raysbaseball.com.
Jose Lobatone. Red Sox have a 4-3 lead on Oakland at Fenway in the bottom of the fifth. Middlebrooks has hit a 3-run home run. He's dropped down the lineup a little bit with Ortiz back, and no problem. And Toronto and Baltimore. No score top of the fifth in Baltimore. Happ and Tillman. Each team with a hit in that game. Here the Rays scored 4 in the first, another one in the third. Yankees scored a run in the fourth inning. The bottom half of that frame. One count. The Yankees, with all of these injuries, TBA could benefit from the versatility that the Rays have. You know, in a couple of ways that they could benefit from that. Because if you look at the injuries, the major injuries they've had, they've pretty much replaced them man for man, position for position. There are not a lot of multiple position guys on this team. Lobatone's out on strikes. And when you look at the Rays and guys who play all over the place, Roberts, Zobrist, and just up and down this roster, Sean Rodriguez. And the Yankees, I guess, have Nunez, but they don't have a lot of guys who Girardi can shuffle into different positions and different spots in the order.
You've got a couple of guys that can move around the infield at multiple positions, perhaps, but the Rays have 3 guys that can cover infield and outfield, and that's the difference. You know, Sean Rodriguez is at first base tonight. He can play second. If you needed to, he could play short, third, outfield, and that's ridiculous. You know, then Ben Zobrist, we talked about him. Kelly Johnson's getting time in the outfield. And like you said, the Yankees, it's just, kind of, Nunez, obviously everyday player now until Jeter comes back. He can play third.
It would be interesting to see. And there's talk that the Yankees would like to keep the payroll down. They're not big on the payroll tax that they feel penalizes them. Be interesting to see what would happen if they would adopt a similar approach in terms of versatility. You need marquee players, and that's the argument there. Well, you're going to have some marquee players. The Rays have some marquee players, Longoria, Price, but they have a ton of players, and that was part of, I think, the genius of the Rays and Joe Madden and the baseball office to create depth through versatility, and they've done a great job at that. So the question is, could the Yankees reduce their payroll by doing that, and would it play in New York?
Well, I don't know. That'll be interesting to see how that does play out. You know, the Rays have done it that way out of necessity.
Yep.
There's no other choice. The Yankees, they've not been put in that position where they've had to make those kind of decisions. A year like this, with as many injuries that they've had, and with the desire to keep to stay under the threshold, especially next year's the big year. They have to be under it next year, or they get really pounded with taxes. Where if they stay under it for the year, then it goes back to that first time 17% tax. They can live with that, but it will be interesting to see on both counts. I certainly think that they will tend that way to try to find some versatile players.
Yeah.
You wonder if the New York fan, having been spoiled for so long with an all-star at every position, is going to go for it. And does management care what they think?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it's an entertaining brand of baseball. Tapper foul. And you know what the Rays have done, in a way, is years ago what the Cardinals did with a huge farm system and that firebrand type of baseball that they played all the way back into the late 20s and 30s and then forward in the decades to follow. And even when they played the Yankees in the World Series in '64 and the great Cardinal teams in later years too. Good speed. They were entertaining teams and balanced and versatile teams. And you had some marquee players to build around, but a lot of versatility. I think it's entertaining baseball, and it'd be interesting just to see, because that's one of the things that made the Dodgers so successful and entertaining. So the Rays have sort of the modern day adaptation of that, and they've done it well. Desmond fouls it back. So we'll see, just to kind of keep an eye. See if they don't move in that direction. See, since '08, look at this. The Yankees and the Rays have had the highest winning percentage in the American League. The Phillies sandwiched in between them over in the National League. And you know, the Angels for a time were built on a more of a National League framework.
Yeah, not until recently. They've gone out, well, back-to-back years with big sluggers. Pujols this year, Hamilton.
Runner goes, and a ground ball deep third. Nix backhands, and the throw is picked by Overbay. Jennings is out of there. So the Rays leave a man, get the leadoff walk. Duncan stranded, but the Rays off to a quick start here tonight against CC Sabathia. Rays lead 5-1. Time now for the Just for Men Auto Stop foolproof stat. How about this for a little flashback back to September the 22nd, 2011, when Matt made his first major league start against the New York Yankees. He got a lot of support in that game, 15 runs.
And he made it hold up. Wow.
5 shutout innings.
Yeah, 11 punch outs. How about being thrown right into the fire, too? First start, Yankee Stadium. How did he respond?
Brennan Box to lead off the 5th. And a pop-up back of the mound, and Moore.
Yes.
Yeah, Moore gets to make the catch. And as Brian Anderson applauds here in the booth, we'll check in with Todd Callis and we'll both applaud.
Well, guys, Matt Moore, as you know, has struggled early in the season in the prior years, but both major league and minor league seasons. Here's what he thinks is the difference this year.
Yeah, I feel like this stuff's the same. Fastball, curveball, changeup, and I think a little bit more has been my command has been better. I've been able to use all of my pitches in a lot better counts. Sometimes falling behind, you don't get to those pitches. So this is, it's been nice to be able to get ahead to most guys.
Of course, right after we hear that, he's 2-0. But the difference between ahead of the count, behind of the count for Matt Moore this year in his career is astounding when you look at the splits, guys.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I'll tell you, when you look at his numbers this year, and he's been a little different pitcher this year, a little more command. And the key to any pitcher is, we all know, BA's to get ahead. But he's had some success in some reverse counts as well.
You can see right there, ahead in the count and behind. This year it's been lights out. Come on, 45. But that's always been the key. I think that will be the key for Matt Moore. As long as he has that plus velocity, that'll be the key for him, as long as he's able to maintain it. If he commands that pitch, just tell me. You can think of a game where he's had fastball command, and he's been hurt by the other team. I mean, has it happened? Doesn't come to mind right off the bat.
Well, his numbers ahead in the count are out of sight, but those numbers behind in the count are good numbers too this year.
Right. Well, what's hurt him more than anything is the walk. When it's fallen behind and issuing the free pass, and then that occasional hit that they do get off of him. But his stuff is so explosive and so powerful that when he keeps it in the zone, he's virtually unhittable.
And he walks Nunez, so he gives up second walk. He walked the first man he faced, Gardner, and now one out here in the fifth. He walks Nunez. Coming into the game, he had walked 11 in 18 innings, but had given up only 8 hits. Lyle Overbear now.
And he did have that the second start of the season for him. It was in Texas, and he walked 6 and 5 in the third. He only gave him 1 hit that game and did a nice job of pitching around trouble. Nice little step-off move there. That's another way that he'll try to control the running game. Nunez, another one of these New York Yankees that will run.
He misses to Overbear.
This is one of those stretches. This is where he's, and Jim Hickey, the pitching coach, already talking about get that downhill, get that release point back out in front. This is where he's done a nice job of being able to make this adjustment quicker than he has in the past. See if he can do it here. If not, Jim Hickey will be coming to that dugout for too long.
Well, that fastball up a bit, but with a little something on it. 94 and up.
Lyle Overbay likes that ball up and out over the plate. He swung at a 3-1 fastball up there and popped out harmlessly in his previous at bat, and goes after that pitch up the ladder too. Maybe a gift strike.
You hear about left-handed hitters being low ball hitters, but against a lefty, they really like the ball up a lot.
And especially this guy, and proceed at your own. Proceed with caution. You got a guy like Matt Moore. You may like the ball up there, but I'm going to tell you something. His ball has that late life, that late jump on it. It really explodes when it's up in the zone.
One out walk has put Nunez aboard. Pops him up. Foul ball. Longoria is after through the coaching box. 2 gone.
See, that's the thing. You may like that ball up there, but it's just so hard to get on top of. Coming out of the hand of Matt Moore, that ball just ate Lyle Overbay up.
Jason Nix is playing third base tonight. Mike Napoli's hit a grand slam for the Red Sox, and they lead 8-3 over Oakland. Bottom of the 5th. Last time we checked that one. They were still hitting, and they've added another run. It's now 9-3. Now Moore's pace is the exact opposite. This walk to Nunez, working out of the stretch. With the exception of the first inning, he really hasn't had to work out of the stretch.
You know, a lot of guys will become a little bit more deliberate out of the stretch, and you just wonder if Matt Moore being even more so, because mechanically not as sharp as he was, you know, basically the first 4 innings.
Snap throw down to first. Back in is Nunez. Nix took that pitch, a curveball for a ball. It's 2-1 to him. Now the whole pacing now all of a sudden completely different.
Yeah, and I really think it's twofold. I think right now, like even now, he's thinking to himself, okay, going over his keys, trying to get back in sync. All part of the maturation process.
That one by him. 2-2.
But he'll present pitches like this. Watch this pitch. Looks like it's going to be up and out over the plate. Just really takes off. Runs right off the swing of Nix.
Now the 2-2. We're going to go full up. Second full count of the inning. He walked Nunez 3-2. Jim Hickey and Joe Madden looking on from the Rays dugout. Strike 3 call. Nix took a fastball. That's the 7th strikeout for Matt Moore. We go to the bottom of the 5th. The Rays behind the left arm of Matt Moore and a couple blasts. They lead 5-1. Matt, 7 strikeouts, just 1 hit allowed. Brought to you by H.H. Gregg. Been a good night for the Rays second baseman Ryan Roberts tonight. A 2-home run night.
And he does not discriminate. First home run was a curveball. That was a misplaced fastball. That's 2 of them.
2 home runs from Roberts. Escobar's hit 1 out. Here's Roberts hitting again against Sabathia. Strike call. Center, and there's a base hit. 3 for 3 for Ryan Roberts.
Now, we talked about Ryan Roberts getting increased playing time, 4th straight start, and obviously seeing more pitches, more comfortable at the plate, and it is paying off. 2 home runs and all over that pitch, right back up the middle.
Well, he indeed is frisky and hitterish tonight. 3 for 3. Couple bombs, and the Rays out in front here, 5-1. Now Ben Zobrist. And puts down the bunt foul. Vernon Wells turned in an outstanding play on the ball he hit down the left field line in the 3rd. How about Sabathia coming in? He'd given up only 1 home run in 28 innings. And then 2 in the 1st and another one in the 3rd tonight. One and one. Evan on deck. Ground ball. Nunez to his right. He'll get the out at second, and that's it. 1 on, 1 out. Let's take a look at our Toyota trend as Evan Longoria heads to the plate. He's had some success in his career against Sabathia to the tune of 375 and 5 home runs. He was part of the 4-run first in this game, but with a single and a run scored. Zobrist at first. And that's a ball. He's facing the 32-year-old left-hander, making his 5th start of the year tonight. Coming off a start against Arizona. He got the victory in a 4-3 New York win. So he's 3-1. This is his 5th start, and Matt Moore 3-0. This is Matt's 4th start of the year. Finds the zone, and it's 2 balls and a strike. On that fastball foul back. Rays did their damage in the early part of this game. Down the middle now. 4 in the first and 1 in the third. And so the count will go full. Athletics finally hitting in the 6th inning at Fenway, down 9-3 now. Force another 3-2 pitch. Ground ball stays down to third. Nix, Cano 1. Over to Overbay around the horn for the double play. On to inning 6, 5-1 Rays. Matt Moore tonight against the New York Yankees. 7 strikeouts, a couple of walks. The only hit he's given up was a Cano home run. He got home run power behind him. Roberts in the first, Escobar in the first, and Roberts again in the third. The Rays tonight have 5 runs, 6 hits, and they hold a 5-1 lead. And as we go to the 6th inning, Matt's going to start his 3rd time through the New York lineup. We'll have Gardner, Francisco, and Cano coming up.
It'll be interesting to see how he comes out this inning. A little bit wobbly there in the 5th. He did right the ship and get the strikeout to end the inning. Once again, that's one of those things that he's been good at. When things haven't been as crisp and he's been a little out of sync, he's been able to clean it up relatively quickly and move on. Been very good tonight.
He starts Gardner with a high fastball, 1-0. You know, all of these young pitchers for the Rays have done a great job.
Really have.
The idea was maybe stretch them out a little bit more and hope that they would get off to good starts and give the Rays a good push out of the gate. Well, they've pretty much done their jobs. All of them.
Leading the way for this Rays staff right now. You think about Matt Moore, 3-0 with a 1 coming into this game and throwing the ball tremendously. You know, then Alex Cobb's been outstanding. Jeremy Hellickson in his last couple of outings as good as you're going to see him.
Yeah, the development of that curveball for Hellickson to go with the changeup and then what he does with the fastball.
And
it's a great combo.
And Cobb with the curveball.
That's right.
And you think about Roberto Hernandez getting his first win yesterday, and you know that David Price is going to turn it around and get back to his norm. So you got to feel really good about this Rays rotation and where they're at right now.
It's a strike. Well, Matt's had 3 ball counts on 3 of the last 4 hitters. That's the reference you made about the 5th. Got a little wobbly there, but got through it with just 1 walk.
And those are the things that will drive up Matt's pitch count. You know, we talked about off the air, you know, that 2nd, 3rd inning into the 4th. You're like, you know, these are some pretty quick, clean innings. He's just out there, pound the zone, be done with you, move on to the next guy.
Like another full count pitch to Gardner. And Gardner fouls it away one more time.
Gardner putting up a battle, looking for something out over the plate that he can put into play.
Yeah, Gardner can be a nemesis that way.
Oh yeah.
Third time, 3-2 pitch, and he walks him this time. Third walk of the game given up by Matt Moore, and we'll check in with Todd Counts.
Time for the Twitter poll brought to you by AT&T. If we asked you this at the beginning of the year, hashtag TB1 would get 95+% of the votes. But it's more interesting now. Price the only one in the rotation without a win. Who's going to lead the Rays in wins? Matt Moore has 3, hashtag TB3. Jeremy Hellickson's hashtag TB2. Make sure to include those hashtags. TB4 for Alex Cobb, hashtag TB5 for Roberto Hernandez. Tweet your votes to @SunSportsRays.
All right, Todd, thank you. And Francisco looks at a ball, and Lobito's going to make a trip to the mound.
Well, that ball sailed arm side high. That's one of the red flags for Matt Moore. If he's going to miss up there, not quite getting out in front where he needs to be, that good release point, and nice job by Jose Lobaton to recognize that and go out there and words of encouragement and or a tip or 2. Here's the discussion going on right now between Joe Madden and pitching coach Jim Hickey.
Big swing and a miss on the fastball. It's 1-1. Missed with a curveball. Matt Moore just 23. You know, if you think about it in terms of experience, it just hasn't been that long ago that David Price was still trying to get his feet under him, and I don't know if we ever perfect our games, whatever they may be, but you try. Yeah, and he was on that road, and Matt Moore finds himself on that same trail.
Yeah, and you could see the progress being made right before our very eyes. You know, he was focused on, he got tired of the talk. You know, this guy professionally, you know, gets off to a slow start, and that's just who he is. He's like, no, that's not who I am. I'm going to do something about it. And look how he started off this year. 3-0 with a 1 coming in, and has himself in a position here to maybe even improve upon those numbers.
Goes 3-2 to Francisco. Off speed pitch there that was up and away. So a little bit of a challenge right here for Matt Moore. And Cano on deck. You don't want to start putting men on base in front of him.
He could tighten this game up in a hurry. Saw that in his last at bat.
Shot to left, back to the track, full, and he makes the catch. And back to first is Gardner. And a quick throw to first. Boy, I'll tell you, Gardner took a little time getting back there. And the Rays made a play out of that at first base.
Yes, they did. He was Cadillacing it back to first base, and Sean Rodriguez playing possum. That was outstanding. Well, he stayed quiet on the bag and then made a quick catch. Here's the ball off the end of the bat from Francisco, and Fold gets to and get it in a hurry.
That was close. Look at Sean. He says, I would have called him out. Here's Robinson Cano. First pitch strike. Cano hit his 6th home run of the year and the 4th when he connected on a curveball. Escobar gloves it. He's going to go to first, and an attempt at a scoop by Rodriguez. The ball loose. Now the runner's going to go to third. Safely in there is Gardner. It's going to be first and third as Cano is safely aboard. Well, Escobar made the pickup, and his throw required Rodriguez to try to scoop it, and he could not cleanly come up with it.
Now he had to get rid of it quickly, going down like that, spinning to the inside. Strong throw, doesn't quite get there, and Sean Rodriguez not able to come up with it. Great attempt on both ends. That ball, actually, you saw it go right into the webbing of the glove, just wasn't able to squeeze it. And then the pest that is Brett Gardner alertly hustles down to third.
Wells now the hitter. Wells takes the ball. That's a base hit for Cano. He has both New York hits. And the ruling is that Gardner advances on an E6. 1-1. For the first time in this game, the Yankees have 2 men on base at the same time. And Wells a little late on the fastball, just got a bit of it. Foul it. It's a ball and 2 strikes. Twice has struck out on changeups. And he's out again. Changeup one more time.
And why not? The swing has been the same on all 3 of them. Actually, the pitch location has been the same on all 3 of them. Well located, and that's the swing you're going to see. Just cannot lay off of it.
8 strikeouts tonight for Matt Moore. And he has Wells 3 times on the changeup. Francisco Cervelli. First pitch strike. Made that off-speed pitch in there. Close. 1-1. Moore found himself in a little bit of a spot, issuing the leadoff walk to Gardner. He's now at third. Cano's at first. Fly ball to center. Jennings is there. Side retired. 2 men left. Bottom of inning 6 coming up. 5-1 Tampa Bay. For great lease and finance deals on fuel-efficient Hondas. By Checkers, feast on. And by Nissan, your best choice for a new car. Nissan's Best Choice Sales Event. Shop ChooseNissan.com. Rays have led throughout the evening. They put 4 up in the first. They lead 5-1. Sean Rodriguez, who was part of that first with a triple, leads off the bottom of the 6th. Flied out to right his last time. That's strike 1.
Sabathia, after that first inning uprising by the Rays, has been able to really make some good adjustments. Started pitching the Rays hitters, the right-handed hitters, in more changeups. And here he is surviving the bottom of the 6th inning. Pitch count in decent shape at 85. And for him, that's not really even an issue. They let him go deep.
And a check swing. Roller picked up by Sabathia, and the toss is wide of the bag. How about that? And Rodriguez is aboard, and Sabathia just floated the ball to the infield side, and he is not happy.
Well, no, and he's not happy with himself. He never got his feet set, and he just tried to feather that ball over there. Watch, the feet never really get set, throws it off his wrong foot, and realizes as soon as he let it go. It's always amazing. Pitchers that can stand on that mound and dot the strike zone. And then right here, you get a little lazy mechanically, and give up a base runner.
Yeah, he was just disgusted with himself over that. Here's Escobar. Hit a ground ball to short. Nunez to Cano, and his flip to first. So the very next pitch, a double play ball.
I think one of the things that has made CC Sabathia the pitcher that he is so successful for so long, of course he's got tremendous stuff. He's had the big explosive fastball, the breaking ball. He really took the step to the next level when he was able to develop that changeup. But it's his willingness to be accountable. That's the thing. I think that in anything, in life in general, if you can't look in your mirror and say, you know what, maybe it's me. Maybe I need to change something. No matter what is going on around you, fair or not, if there's not that accountability, you're never going to achieve anything. And that's something that he holds himself to a high standard and says, listen, I'll admit when I make mistakes and I'll make corresponding adjustment. And he's that has then allowed him to be this successful for this long.
Well said. Having said that,
I'm going to sleep well tonight.
Don't go change it. A ball, no strikes. Popper. Cervelli can't find it. And now it's going to come down, and he got it. How about that? He's just had to wait until I got finished bouncing around upstairs. And wait, it's going to be ruled. Let's see, that's going to be a. Did it hit something and it's dead? If that's a.
They're saying it wasn't in fair territory.
Yeah, and it's a dead ball then. So it was bouncing around up there, and the umpires kept their eyes on it. Now Girardi wants to come out. And it's one of those unique situations here to the Trop.
Arena baseball.
But if that ball is in foul territory, it's a dead ball. Most of the time you will see that down the lines. In fact, that's why those yellow indicators hang from the catwalks. That's one of them there just down the third base side. You don't see it much on a pop-up like that as it hits foul. And once it does up there, it's a dead ball. The count now is 1-2 to Shelly Duncan. Thinks it was fair and should have been in play.
Don't get me going on fairness, Wayne. I got a whole nother rant for that one.
Yeah, we're going to take that rant on the road. People need to buy tickets for that one.
Oakland.
Yeah.
Tune in when we're in Oakland. Because I got a rant for you on fairness. It's a little blue.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
Yep.
Look out. Foul ball into the seats back of the Rays dugout.
Just as a teaser, the one thing I'll let you know about fairness is you can roll it up nice and tight.
You could.
Yeah, that's right.
Then what do you do with it?
Well, wait till we go to Oakland.
Base is empty. 2 outs. It's a 2-2 count. And a cut and a miss. Duncan chased the fastball up, so it's a strikeout for Sabathia. Rays lead 5-1. Back inside Tropicana Field, opening game of the 3-game series with the Rays and the Yankees squaring off. Through 6 innings, Matt Moore has made 98 pitches, and there's the pitching line on him. 8 strikeouts. And he'll get a little defensive help at first as James Loney takes over there here in the 7th inning. And Bosch leads it off. And first pitch is a ball. Broken bat. Pop up. Roberts handles that. 1 away. So Moore is at 100 pitches. Rays start to get a little action in the bullpen. 113 is his career high in pitch count. That came last July against the Yankees, and Jamie Wright is up right now in the Rays bullpen. Nunez, Eduardo Nunez takes the first pitch strike.
Matt Moore just over 15 pitches an inning tonight. That's outstanding.
Yeah, that's trimming a couple pitches an inning. That's good.
Which will allow him, obviously, now pitching into the 7th inning. Hopefully he can get through this inning. But again, he's had a couple of instances in the game tonight where mechanically, maybe for a 5 or 6 pitch span, got out of sync a little bit, but tightened it right back up. Got right back into the groove, and that's been the difference for this kid.
Pop to the right side. Loney's there waiting. 2 gone. And therein is the skill in a pitching coach like Jim Hickey.
Yes.
In developing a young talent like Matt Moore. You're sometimes walking that tightrope, but here he is, and he's recovering from those little jaunts to the side of the road, if you will, and he gets right back in lane. Deflected off the glove of Moore. Escobar makes the play, and so he does get through the 7th. 1-6-3. 7th inning stretch time. The Rays lead 5-1.
David Price takes them out tomorrow against the Yankees. Of course he does. Come cheer him on and be a part of the craziest new fan section in Tampa Bay District K9. Your specially priced ticket includes a lower level seat, a District K9 t-shirt, and a K card. To purchase tickets, visit raysbaseball.com/District K9.
CC Sabathia back to the hill for New York as this game moves into the home half of the 7th. The Rays scored 4 times in the first, added a run in the 3rd, and lead 5-1. Jose Lobaton is going to lead it off. Looking for his first hit. Swings through the first offering from Sabathia. 8 strikeouts for Matt Moore. Sabathia has 7. Rays about hit New York 6-2. 4 of those hits and 4 of those runs came in the first inning.
Matt Moore certainly had the look there sitting on the bench that he may be venturing out for the 8th inning. Didn't look like a gentleman whose night was over.
He's got 104 pitches right now. Lobaton finds himself behind in the count. Rays have never had a pitcher win his first 4 starts. With that opportunity here tonight. 2-2. Out on strikes for the 3rd time. 1 away.
Well, hey, Rays fans, this season we're bringing back our Rays Fan Express bus. It's a VIP bus for 50 people that picks you up, takes you right to Tropicana Field for a game. Find out how you and your friends can reserve this bus by contacting Rays Group Sales or visiting raysbaseball.com.
Sam Fold in here against the lefty. The curveball is low. Rays have used the long ball tonight to account for all of their scoring. The exception of the triple by Sean Rodriguez that scored Longoria. There's a base hit for Sam. 1 out single. It's on for the 2nd time. He's been hit by a pitch early.
See, that ball is up in the zone, and Sam Folda able to get on top of it. On the inner half, they wanted it away. And the main reason being is that Sabathia doesn't have that extra jump on the velocity. That ball's up there 93, 94. Probably not going to be the same result, but Sam took it right back up the middle. That's a good sign.
The bunt by Jennings getting Sabathia off the mound. The underhanded toss to first will get Jennings. Cole moves up to second base. And here's Ryan Roberts. Well, it's Warren up in the bullpen again for New York. He was up in the early stages of this game.
See Ryan Roberts right there. That's a good shot of him scanning out over the field to see where he's being played, see where the defenders are, any gaping holes he can try to take advantage of. Straight up.
Takes a strike. Well, his last hit was a line drive right up the middle into center. And the other two hits really didn't make any difference where they positioned.
You could have played 8 guys out in, or 7 guys out in left field.
Yep.
Doesn't matter.
Ground ball to third. Nix makes the throw to first. The Rays are out in the 7th. They get a hit and leave a man, and we go to the 8th. It's 5-1 Rays. Well, that's a video highlight film right there of this one. It brings you up to date through 7. The Rays lead 5-1, and Matt Moore is back out there on the hill with 104 pitches made, and he'll face Jason Nix to lead off the 8th. The number 9 hitter, and then it'll be back around at the top of the order. Gardner and Francisco. Jamie Wright is up in the Rays bullpen right now. First pitch fouled away. Right.
Jason Nix not fond of the breaking stuff. Hunts heaters. He's got to be ready for anything here at 0-2.
7 pitches. That's a high this year for Moore. Let that one go. Fastball. Second time tonight.
Well, that was a nice pitch there by Matt Moore, bringing that middle in and up in the zone, recognizing that Nix has been a little bit tardy on the fastball and just overpowers him with this one.
Well, there's Brett Gardner. Twice has walked, and he struck out the other time. And the fastball is in there at 93 for a strike. So Moore here in the 8th, cutting loose, up at 110 pitches right now.
All right, Dwayne. He's at 111 pitches.
Yes,
How
sir.
many questions into Joe Madden's presser till he's asked about Matt Moore's pitch count, even if he took him out right now? And I'll tell you what his answer is going to be after you take a guess.
This one is down.
Well, whatever.
2-1. How many questions?
Yeah, how many questions in
And
before
right
someone
how many-
says,
oh.
hey, what about Matt Moore? You let him go 115 or whatever it's going to turn out to
Yeah,
be.
maybe 2 at the most.
Right?
Yeah.
They're going to be all over it. And I'll bet you that what...
Chop right side. Moore's going to have to cover. It's going to be close, and they got him.
He got him on the tag. That was a smart play by Matt Moore. Not sure if he was going to beat him to the bag. So stick that glove out there and just tag him along the way. Nice play. There you go. That's smart baseball. Well, and here's what his answer is going to be. I think, Joe, what he's going to talk about is, number one, not a lot of high-intensity pitches, not a lot of high-leverage pitches. And for the most part, he's been in pretty good sync all game long, and there's been no attrition with his stuff. It's not like his velocity has started to drop or pitches have started to come up in the zone. He still looks relatively fresh. Pitches have been sharp. He hasn't been out of the stretch dealing with base runners all night long. And I think that's exactly why Joe's allowed him to pitch this deep, this many pitches.
And he's throwing as hard or harder here in the 8th as he has all night.
Yep.
He's got a career high, 114 pitches. And he throws this one by Ben Francisco. It's 1-1.
I may actually listen in on Joe Madden's presser myself to see what he says.
Oh, he started that one outside, tried to break it over, and he didn't miss by much.
No, not at all. Very borderline pitch here. This curveball. I humbly disagree.
Ground ball down to third. And cross from Longoria to Loney. 1, 2, 3. 8 full innings for Matt Moore, and a great job tonight with the Rays leading 5-1.
time to check in on our AT&T Twitter poll. Who do you think is going to lead the Rays in wins this year? Matt Moore could be up to 4 wins at the end of the night. We have hashtag TB1 David Price, still looking for his first win. Hashtag TB2 Jeremy Hellickson, he has 1. We talked about Moore, he's hashtag TB3. Hashtag TB4 Alex Cobb, he has 2 wins. Or hashtag TB5 Roberto Hernandez picked up his first win yesterday. Tweet your votes to @SunSportsRays. We'll have the results in our Rays Live postgame show presented by Checkers. BA will break down Matt Moore's 8-inning performance tonight. Joe Madden with his thoughts at his press conference. And Kelly Nash with those interviews BA was talking about just a moment ago. Guys, back to you.
All right, thank you for that, Todd. The Rays with a very good performance from Matt Moore tonight. They send Ben Zobrist up here to open the bottom of the 8th to face Adam Warren. The Jim Hickey alongside the left-hander Matt Moore. And the pitch is wide to Zobrist. You just can't stress the great job that Jim Hickey has done with these young pitchers. And tonight, a great job by Matt Moore.
You know, what makes his job so unique is, you know, whether you're dealing with a 12-man pitching staff, 13-man pitching staff, he has to be able to interact and relate with each guy. Every guy's going to have different triggers, what they respond to as opposed to different guys. And he has to have, number one, a core philosophy on how the Rays are going to pitch and what his basic tenets are to successful pitching. But then he's got to make that, you know, relationship with each guy and present it to each guy differently. And that's where it becomes very difficult, dealing with a lot of young kids, a few older veterans, and everybody in between. And he does it very, very well.
Well, that's been his experience wherever he's been in Houston. The superstars over there.
Yeah.
And young,
that's right.
Young pitchers over there as well. And then, of course, here's Overbay making the play unassisted. And to get that point across and to develop a pitching staff the way the Rays have here, and make no mistake about it, he's a big part of that.
Has them very well prepared as far as the game plan goes, is able to hone it down to a few key points that he wants each guy to exploit. Weaknesses of opposing hitters. They come into the game well armed, but not with too much information, because too much it gets to be in
circuit.
It does, and then you're out there thinking too much. It's like if a hitter has too much information. As a pitcher, you love that. Know everything that I do. Makes it more difficult for you. Too much to think about.
Was it a Yogi Berra who said you can't think and hit at the same time?
Probably.
Good advice.
Yes, yes it is.
1-1 the count to Evan Longoria. Warren in relief of Sabathia, who worked 7 innings tonight. And a big cut there from Evan. 7 hits allowed by Sabathia, 5 runs all earned. 3 home runs. He struck out 8 and walked 2. Count is 2-2. James Loney on deck. And the count runs full to Longoria. Warren made his big league debut last year over a couple stints with the Yankees. 2 or 3 days at the end of June last year, and then in September. Roller to short. Nunez bounces it in, and Overbay comes up with 2 away.
Well, Joe Madden watches over the field at the Trop, and now he can watch over your field at home. The Rays will be taking on these Yankees this Wednesday, and the first 10,000 fans get a Joe Madden Gnome presented by Sun Sports. Visit RaysBaseball.com for tickets.
You ever wonder what Arestas might look like as a gnome?
No.
Well, now we know.
I'm not looking.
Look away. Will be
I can't imagine.
Part of that post-game coverage with Todd.
Yeah, doing double duty. I'm still looking. I can't imagine anybody that wonders what Orestes Estrada, or me, or you, or Kelly Nash for that matter, or Todd Callis, what we would look like as a. Well, you're right, but no one.
There you go, right there. So that very question will be part of the Twitter poll apparently tomorrow night.
Really?
Yeah.
I may vote twice. I'll tell you who after the break.
Right back to the mound. Loney's out. 1, 2, 3. We're through 8. We head into the 9th. It's 5-1.
The Rays Summer Concert Series returns with acts for the entire family. You can enter the Danger Zone with Kenny Loggins, listen to country music megastar Martina McBride, or watch your kids move all around the field with the Imagination Movers. For the full concert lineup, visit RaysBaseball.com/concerts.
That's the second time I've butchered the word imagination on that read.
I have not kept count.
I feel really strong up into imagination, and then I just absolutely butchered it. Fatigue.
Could be. Hunger and fatigue.
Starving.
Kyle Farnsworth is the new pitcher for the Rays. 8 very good innings for Matt Moore. And he turns it over to Kyle Farnsworth here in the 9th with Robinson Cano, Vernon Wells, and Francisco Cervelli due up. And a broken bat barreled into the bat back of first. Roberts takes care of the toss to Loney to retire Robinson Cano. Big pregame show tomorrow.
Yeah, it's coming up tomorrow. It'll be at 6:30, presented by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. David Price, he will be in search of win number 1. We'll have a feature on the extremely en fuego Yunel Escobar. Ask him about his big bat.
Appears to be working out. Here's Vernon Wells. Liner into right. Zobrist is there. 2 gone. Hey, here's the pitching matchup coming up for tomorrow, by the way.
Well, brought to you by Chevron. Let's take a look. We know that that man is going to be one half of it. And Phil Hughes. 0-2 record. He'll be looking for his first victory. 6.43 earned run average.
Speaking of earned run average, Moore's ERA went up tonight.
Yeah, how is that possible? As well as he pitched.
Well, he gave up a run. He only pitched 8 innings. Wants to keep it at 1. He's got to go 9. Cervelli looks at a strike.
This is a cruel game sometimes. That's again. That goes back into fairness.
Yeah, we'll get into that on the West Coast. 0-2 the count. Farnsworth a strike away from ending this one. Rays took the lead in the first, and they've led all the way. And Farnsworth just missed the corner. He was 94 with that fastball. This is as well as we've seen him throw.
Yeah, he's jumped up on this one. Boy, that was close. You could have.
Call it a night.
Now's not the time to get fancy.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Eight innings for Moore. It equals his longest outing of his career. He had an 8-inning stint against Seattle. 117 pitches tonight, his career high. Farnsworth is retired Cano and Wells. 2-2 to Cervelli. And a ground ball grabbed at third by Longoria, and the Rays win it. Longoria to Loney. 1-2-3 go the Yankees in the 9th. And the Rays are winners tonight. It's a 5-1 final. And Matt Moore goes to 4-0, the first pitcher in Rays history to win each of his first 4 starts. And his earned run average does go up. It was 1 when he started the game. It's 1.04 now. And he is 4-0. Great job by Moore. He got support in the early part of this game and took it from there. Final out. Longoria's flashing that glove. Now Farnsworth. An impressive 1-2-3 9th. Moore goes to 4-0, and Sabathia drops to 3-2. Sabathia went 7. And the Rays win their 9th of the year. And they've taken the first 4 games of this 6-game homestand, fresh off the sweep of the Oakland A's. They defeat the Yankees tonight. Yankees now 10-8 on the year. It took 2 hours and 29 minutes to play this game. And Todd is standing by on the field with Matt Moore right now.
Thank you, Dwayne. Matt, 3 of your 4 starts, 2 hits or less. Do you feel as good now as you have at maybe any point in your career?
Yeah, absolutely. It's very nice to have this type of run support early like that. It makes it very easy to pitch. And then with the defense, it's pretty automatic when the ball's on the ground, we're getting it out. So those, it's a combination of a lot of different things that's making stuff happen for me.
5th inning, it looked like you lost the zone for a little while. Brian Anderson made the point where it seems like you're making those adjustments quicker this year than maybe you did in the past. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. It's it's all a learning experience every time out there, and I'm trying to pick something up each time out and trying to remember what was working for me the previous start. So this is something definitely to keep going.
Then you get to the 8th inning. You're sitting in the dugout. Does anybody say anything to you about going out for the 8th, or did it not say anything to you so you go out there?
It's pretty good news when they don't come up to you right away. So, I mean, once I knew that, their pitcher was warming up and we were about to start the 8th inning, I kind of had a pretty good feel I was going to go back out there.
It's one thing to get the ball in the 8th. It's another thing to go through it. How good did that feel, knowing Joe gave you the ball with 105 pitches to get through that inning?
I mean, it felt great. Our bullpen's going to get used a lot throughout the course of this season. So for, an extra day of rest like this today is exactly what we're all trying to do every night.
How about the team in general? Come off that 2-7 trip. All of a sudden you've won 4 in a row at home.
It's we got something going, and this is definitely the way that the Rays play baseball, and we're going to try to continue this way of play.
Congratulations, Matt.
Thanks, TK.
All right, guys, back to you.
All right, Todd, thank you very much. Rays defeat the New York Yankees 5-1 tonight here at Tropicana Field. We'll be right back.